is real. Listen.
Hi, I'm Tracy.
And I'm Kathy.
And this is Curious Explorers. Hey, Kathy.
Hey, Trace.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you.
I was thinking of you before we logged on, and it has nothing to do with the paranormal, and I don't know if I should edit this out, but I'm laughing because, you and I were talking about hair. This isn't the personal anecdote I was going to share with you. And, because I'm blasted by a lot of light, it makes everything look a little better. But I'm laughing because I use this newish hairspray that my hairdresser recommended. And this is a Jersey salon, just saying.
So we're going for volume.
And so
statement.
Yeah, and so it's like a beach spray. So it's supposed to give your hair texture and also make it smell like the beach. Now, sorry.
If you like that, right, which is great.
So
it depends on the beach.
It does. It
depends on the beach.
You know what it smells like? It smells like, if the only older people are going to get this, but it smells like the beach. If the beach smelled like, what was that, like drugstore in the early 1980s that sold all the like horribly unhealthy, blast you with CFC's hairspray. It was like one of those that went out of business. I forget the name.
Yeah,
it was like a five and dime type of store.
I'm trying to think. By me, it was, oh my God, I'm having a senior moment. It was,
I need to edit it.
Oh my God. Wait. No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was like a specific, like, oh, let's go to such and such. And you get like thread.
Like for me, there was Newberry's, which was one of them. There was a Caldor's, but there was the one with the W because they had the counter where you could get a cup of coffee.
Yes, or ice cream.
Yes. Yeah. They had their own. What the heck was it called?
I don't remember. It's crazy. It's like a drugstore that you could get like.
Yeah.
Arts and crafts stuff for school projects, and
no, it was like a general store.
Like an ice cream soda type of thing.
It was like a general store. You could get you could get a soda pop and which was not at all what I ever called it. I don't know why I called it now, but and you could get the cups with
being
you
soda
could get a
inclusive.
cup of coffee. You get the coffee. They had the container, but the coffee was served actually in a paper cup because they would just throw them away.
Oh, okay.
Woolworths.
Yes, thank you, God.
Oh my God, I'm like this. That is the longest. I will tell you, that's the most exercise I've had all week. Was that meandering? So that was the best workout I've had all week, where I meandered down memory lane for about 50 miles and stopped at every road stop. Woolworths, that was it.
But this
Woolworths.
hairspray kind of smells to me like the dime store, drugstore smell, like of just like inexpensive and probably toxic hairspray.
It smells like how someone who has never been to the beach thinks
the beach smells. Or like a candle that's supposed to smell like the beach.
Yeah.
And it's like a $35 bottle of hairspray because, I don't have easy hair. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know.
I will tell you this. I was never a person that ever thought product mattered.
It does.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, it never did. To be quite honest, I always had great hair. You know what I mean?
I never
when I was
did.
Younger, I had great hair. I don't anymore, but I had great hair. So my hair was always kind of like, wash it, dry it, it looks fabulous. You know what I mean? It was always it was wavy and it was thick and it was all of those things. At least that's what my mom said. My mom always said I had beautiful hair.
My mommy said.
But my mom said, because my mom told me. But it was, I shouldn't say it was, my hair was so great. I should say I never was that concerned about it, right? Now I'm a little bit more. But I recently started using this product line. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, product actually
matters.
Is impactful. I couldn't believe the difference in my hair. I went out on Mother's Day. We brought my mom to Little Ireland in the Bronx.
Oh, okay.
And it's literally little, but it's also very Irish for these like 2 blocks.
Okay.
And I think it's McLean Boulevard or McLean Avenue or something like that. But it's in Woodlawn, so it's just it's in the Bronx, and there's I literally walked in and I was like, holy crap, these people are like real Irish. You could tell immediately they were real Irish, not Irish American. They were Irish.
But I mean, were you just like, everyone looks like my cousin?
Well, yes, but it's like, it's more of an attitude, it's like, like the tattoos are in a different place than they are, on Americans. And the food choices are completely different, right? So like it was a special brunch, but we brought my mom in because she'd never been, and my sister who married an Irish guy. They go all the time, and the kids love it. The kids are used to, my sister's kids grew up the way we grew up, and
because both your parents are from Ireland. For people who
both
haven't,
my parents were born and raised in Ireland, and my sister married a man from Ireland, and dragged him out here. That is not true. She did not drag him. He came of his own volition. But when you're children of people from Ireland, there's this, I don't know, you've got one foot in one country and one foot in another country, and you're never 100% in either. And you feel this longing for both, no matter where you are. But anyway, this is related to my hair product because
somehow I totally lost.
Somehow we all decided to go out to the Bronx. So I picked my mother up, and it was a long drive, but along the way I started touching the back of my hair, and I was like, oh my God, my hair feels fabulous. And I made everybody in the car, including the driver, feel my hair.
I wasn't uncomfortable until that moment.
It was uncomfortable. I will say they were probably pretty uncomfortable.
Oh my God.
The entire way. But I was like, oh my God, my hair feels fabulous. And it did.
I've never had that feeling, ever.
I will say this. I guarantee you that my Irish brunch was unlike pretty much anyone else's Mother's Day brunch, because we all got turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, stuffing, and turnips as our brunch meal. I don't know any place other than an Irish place where they would be like, sure, there's stuffing, you would have that. And I will say there were 6 of us at the table, 5 of us got that.
Wow.
Yeah, my sister went fancy and got the chicken franchise, but the rest of us got a sturdy Irish meal.
Good for you guys.
Yeah. I will tell you, I ate about 1/16 of it. It was so
much.
And it was great. It was delicious, but it was just funny. We were looking at the menu. We're like, no place else we've ever been has this menu. It was just sturdy food, but it was delicious.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys had a great time.
We did. We had a good time.
So I almost forgot this was a paranormal show. I'm going to bring us back. Too bad there's not like haunted breakfast, haunted Irish brunch or something. But that will be the next episode.
I am 100% sure the place I was in was probably haunted. 100% sure.
We'll have to make a trip.
Yes.
So I don't have anything as hearty or wholesome as Irish Mother's Day brunch. So I'm going to go a little bit to the odd and somewhat paranormal side, but that is kind of what the show is about. So
fine, Tracy, if that's what you want.
if I must. So here's one more anecdote. People are going to be like, I'm tuning out, but I am, I was thinking about, this is unrelated to the other stuff I'm going to tell you about, but animal symbolism. We should actually do a whole show on that. I don't think Stephen Farmer, who wrote all those books on animals, spirit animals and things like that, would come on this show. But
although he is very aptly named.
Yes. Yeah, I never thought about that. Mm-hmm. And it's not a pseudonym that I know of. But I was biking, as I sometimes do, and I had been asking for signs and symbols, and I've gotten them before, often in the, form of animals. So you and I talked, I think, last 2 episodes back about the turkeys, the wild turkeys, and we've seen them here. And so that I'm biking and I'm thinking, oh, those giant birds must be turkeys, right? So I pull over on my bike and, I'm on one side of the road and the turkey-like creatures are on the other side of the road, a little behind me. And we also have turkey vultures here.
Right.
That's not what these were. and I took photos and video. Maybe I'll share it. They were black vultures. So they're very eerie looking. Like, I've never seen one up close. They're, very black heads. It almost looks like they're wearing a mask. It's very interesting. And they're gigantic. They were tussling over a squirrel, or a former squirrel who's now probably in the spirit world.
A late squirrel.
Yes, a late squirrel. Formerly known as the squirrel. So, that is a very unsettling image. I'll be sure to post a clip. But I was thinking, God, what is the message of that? And actually, there's a lot of interesting and positive spiritual or mystical associations with black vultures. Among them, communication from the spirit world, etc. Sorry, Zelda's now squeaking her toy because she's so excited by the story. But yeah, so like I definitely have to post that. I have had other times in my life where I've seen, and I could post this as well, literally a turkey vulture come twice, I'm going to say within 10, 15 feet of me and at almost eye level. I mean, one was probably within 10 feet and like hung out on some sort of like sign or mailbox or something, like right near the car. Zelda, seriously? I guess it's better than barking.
I love that, though. I love that. We're talking about animals. She's doing her thing.
She's emphasizing it. Anyway, longest story ever, but I just thought it was so interesting because I want to see, like, what does that mean? I have to meditate on that. I'm sure you've had other interesting animal encounters in all the places that you've lived and traveled.
Well, I will say, so the vulture that you're talking about is oftentimes people who see the Jersey Devil. I know we talked about the Jersey Devil a lot. People who see the Jersey Devil often mistake that vulture for the Jersey Devil because when the vulture sits back, its wings kind of go up behind its head, and it gives it a very, like, it's got a small head, but when the wings are behind it, it gives this very kind of like cloaked kind of feeling and very, very large. So it's interesting that came up because, we were actually talking about the Jersey Devil last week. I have had a bunch of investigations that have had animals in them. So I don't know that I do believe in in kind of universal symbolism and things like that. But I don't know that anything like that has come up specifically, but animal spirits have certainly come up in investigations and things like that.
Yeah, the only other thing I'm going to say, and I wasn't going to share this, but when my friend Mark was very ill, this is 2 years ago now, almost exactly. And, there was a lot of other intense things going on simultaneously at the time for us, but I must have had a few weeks where, and I mean, I never saw dead animals anywhere. I didn't see any reason for them to be doing this. I almost felt like I was like being tailed by vultures. I mean, there were times when I saw 5, 6, 7 at a time over my property, or, again, the one that swooped down a little above head height within like 15 feet of me. And then I'm driving, and this thing was definitely within 10 feet and alighted on, if you could call that, or perched on something nearby. I don't even remember what it was. But I do have a photograph. And I mean, it was so close, I couldn't believe it, and again, all like spirit messengers and things like that. And my friend actually wound up passing shortly thereafter. I actually did feel like that was a sign to pay attention.
Right.
So interesting. And I haven't seen those groups of vultures. Maybe
it was in preparation of to prepare you.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's like, just long story short, we hadn't been thinking he would pass. And then it seemed like, okay, he's probably going to pass. But I think I was still wrapping my mind around it. And then it was like bombardment with symbolic animal visits. But anyway, and I'm sure he's fine now. But it's those who pass are cured. Those who are left behind are, probably still need healing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. But moving over to some of the things I wanted to speak about tonight, the paranormal, I feel like there's a huge range. So see what you think. Some is just news, and it's a little bit on the not lighter side, but not like super heavy. One of them was from the CT Insider. I guess it's the Connecticut Insider. I don't know if you heard about this. When we did our live show last time, I think Drew mentioned Annabelle, or maybe it was Joe mentioned Annabelle. Joe's one of the people who works with Kathy, for anybody listening. Shout out to Joe. But I guess he went with other people from Paranormal, right, to see Annabelle.
Yeah. It was an unapproved side trip. It was something that was done on the deal. No, Becca, Ken, and Joe had gone to Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum up there and seen Annabelle.
Okay, so this is a news item relating to Annabelle, and it does tie in, I believe, to Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum. I mean, I guess it does.
Oh, it would have to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's their crowning. That's their crown jewel.
Okay, so Annabelle apparently is on like tour. And I didn't know this. I'm sure you did, because again, Kathy knows everything. So
no, I mean, it's a very small world. So when stuff like that comes up, especially because for so many years, Annabelle was not permitted to leave the museum, and now it goes to they take it to these different conventions and things like that, and people investigate it. And
so interesting, right? I mean, so the reason I found out about this, other than Google, is that I guess Ryan Buell, formerly of Paranormal State, A&E's show Paranormal State. I think he had been out of the limelight for a while.
Well, he went through some difficulties.
Yeah. Well, I guess he has a TikTok account now, and he posted a series of videos of the doll, Annabelle, being transported and unveiled at the West Virginia State Penitentiary over a previous weekend. So, or maybe it's this past weekend.
I think it was this past weekend.
Okay. So one of the videos, it shows a team member moving her into the West Virginia State Penitentiary. That video alone knocked up 9.8 million views. That to me is almost paranormal, and more than 430,000 likes as of today. The doll was at the former Moundsville, West Virginia prison as part of the Devils on the Run tour. I didn't even know about it. Which these items from the Warrens Occult Museum collection in Monroe, including Annabelle, travel around the country. And basically, so this West Virginia Penitentiary lockdown with Annabelle, that's the name of the event, was held at the allegedly haunted penitentiary May 8th through 11th. So we missed it.
Damn, son of a mother.
But I'll post links to anything I mention. Okay, now Sabrina's getting comfortable. I should include a little photo. She's like scratching at my chair. Thanks, Sabrina. She does it every time we talk about Annabelle. So in lighter news, there is a woman who lives in the UK. This is from the UK Mirror, very reputable publication.
Yes, exactly. This is the pinnacle of journalistic.
This is the best we can do.
We're really hitting all of the high notes here.
So the news article is, I live in a cemetery alongside corpses. I'm sure it's not a sensationalized account at all. But anyway, this made me think of you. And of course,
because I have one in my yard.
And that is why.
Yeah.
So it says, my house is also a home to ghosts. Also made me think of you. But anyway, a self-identified witch who lives in a cemetery with human corpses. I mean, first of all, right there, it's like, seriously? I was going to say tautology. No, but she lives in a cemetery with human corpses because, and I guess instead of the empty cemetery that one would normally live next to, but revealed how she leads a paranormal, supernatural lifestyle. Ren Harris is a qualified clinical aromatherapist, massage therapist, and Reiki practitioner. And she's been a witch for 26 years. She's 41, so she started very early. Right. And she has always felt more at home in supernatural settings, which is why she lives in a 3-bedroom house in a cemetery. And she shares her home. She's not living alone, but with her husband, Justin, 50. I don't know why they have to tell their ages, but they
I'm just grateful that they also tell his. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, where it's
very
usually
important.
usually it's just the woman's age and then maybe her weight. You know?
Oh my God, like that other news story from last year.
Yeah, remember? And she lost 100 pounds. You know,
she lost 8 stone or something like that.
She lost, that's a lot of weight.
I don't know, I made that up.
She lost 8 stone by having sex. That was what it was, remember?
Yeah. Go back to the previous episode, people. We'll put a link.
Meanwhile, he didn't lose a pound. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what's happening.
Exactly.
Well, I can imagine, but
I don't know.
I digress.
But so she lives with her husband, 50-year-old Justin, very relevant, and their children, no kids' names or ages. Yes, but she explains that she never turns away from any visitor who's in need of help to locate the grave of a loved one buried near her home. That's very nice of her. She shares,
and it's required.
Oh, and
it's required. No, it's required.
It is.
I tried to remember. I was going to buy the house with the graveyard in the back.
Yes,
in the back.
Like the real graveyard.
Yeah, and I actually looked at 2 of them, and that doesn't bother me at all. I find it very, I find it, as a historian, I actually find it poignant, and like I think it's something that I think it's an honor to do. I never really think of them as particularly paranormal in nature, but one of the things that you had to sign off on was that you own the cemetery, you own the property that the cemetery is on. You're not responsible for the upkeep of the graves, but you are responsible for the upkeep of any landscaping. So you need to mow it and stuff like that. But you have to, as long as there are living descendants, right? And they go within you either have to prove that you either have to prove that you're a descendant, or it has to be within a certain timeline. So it's like if the grave is 400 years old and you can't quite prove it, as the homeowner, you don't have to leave your property open for those people. But the one that I was looking at buying had 2-hour public hour access a week. So it's like, if you want to come visit your and you could do more if you chose, but the minimum you could do was 2 hours. And I think that's pretty standard, pretty much anywhere.
I never had even thought about it being completely
pretty much anywhere. I mean, I think
honest.
The graves in the cemetery that's behind my house now, I think the last person buried there was like 1908. So I think you're within. I don't think you're required to have, unless there's someone who can show they're a direct descendant. But in most places, you're required to have public access to a grave, unless it's a private cemetery, which people do have. Lots of families have private cemeteries.
Make me think of The Others, perfect private cemetery movie. Not that
if you drive up in New Jersey, if you drive up around Ramapo College or up in up around there, there are a lot of homesteads that were up there that still have private cemeteries from colonial times.
I had no idea.
And and they're just in people's yards, so they're not public. So there wouldn't be anyone who was still related to those people, but they're still maintained. There's one on Rumson Road here in New Jersey as well. I've actually spoken to someone who owned it. They had great Halloween parties, by the way. But if you buy that property, you sign an agreement that you will honor and respect it and take care of it as a historical location. And it's not something that I think is legally binding, but it's morally binding, and everybody has done it. Everyone has taken great care of it. So I think it's something.
I mean, that makes sense. Unless you're like a developer, nothing wrong with developers. Unless
you're a terrible person.
Unless you're going to pull a poltergeist,
Unless you're they moved the stones, but they didn't move the pines. Or the Garden State Parkway, one or the other.
Oh my God.
One of the other.
It's a whole other story. That actually is scarier than anything I'm going to say about this woman. That woman just said,
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. That there's, like she's feeling very drawn to it. She was, she did have activity in the house when she first moved in, and then it kind of calmed down. Unlike Zelda, I really hope she's going to calm down. She seems actually pretty happy. There's a pretty anticlimactic story. Just despite the I sleep next to corpses
Yeah.
headline, which seems like they must have really had to get that story in.
Listen, do something that makes it sound unwholesome. Do something that makes it sound terrifying.
I mean, even the fact that she's doing witchcraft, she seems like a positive person and happy.
Well,
and
I would think most people.
I think of it as positive,
I think most people who practice witchcraft these days would lean into the positive side of it,
Yeah.
But I actually just had 2 witches that were in the store yesterday. They did a tour I think they did a tour for Mother's Day. So it's like, yeah.
It was a great Mother's Day. It's not as good as turnips and stuffing.
Listen, I'm going to say the perfect Mother's Day would be go get your Sunday dinner at noon, because that's when you have dinner in Ireland. Go have your Sunday dinner.
Okay.
Have it be filled with carbs. So many carbs. Potatoes, stuffing, turnip, a little bit of turkey in there, a little bit of ham. And then go to the Paranormal Museum. Can you think of anything better?
No, I can't.
My mother did not go to the Paranormal Museum.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, she was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I think it'd be a little much for her on so many levels, but
she's like, I'm fine.
It's good. So the meat of this story, or of this episode, or my part of this episode, is going to be talking about not people living next to cemeteries, because that was actually pretty that's almost wholesome. But the Devil's Tree in Basking Ridge. Mm-hmm. I know you're familiar with this. Yes. Can I ask before I start the story, have you ever been there?
Many years ago.
Really? And you're still alive to tell the tale?
Well, I'm a special person, the devil's afraid of me. I don't, now I said that out loud, and I'm a little bit afraid that I said it out loud. It's like, don't stop. It's like this. Stop challenging the devil, Kathy. Stop it.
Find another hobby.
Stop it. How much more needs to go wrong in the world before you stop challenging the devil?
I have to tell you now, if we get any weird anomalies,
it's going to be me.
I'll be like, you just pulled them in. Because I haven't been looking at you. I'm looking at you now, but I have been, just looking at all the stuff I want to go over.
I will say this, though. There's always stuff flying around me, whether I call in the devil or not. So I'm not gonna give him credit this time.
All right. I mean, I hope we make it through the episode.
Yeah. Both of us.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm just going to tell a little overview. My disclaimer is I grew up in that area. I know a lot of people who grew up in that area, will tell you, oh, they love it. They had the best upbringing, and I'm so happy for them. I never felt an affinity to the area. I feel like places have an energy like people, and sometimes it feels resonant and sometimes it doesn't. Mm-hmm. Where I am now feels very, very resonant. Like even when I go back now, it just the energy doesn't feel as resonant for me. I don't think it's because of this tree, but now I could say that is why. Yeah.
You could be like, I love this place, but the devil.
If only the devil didn't put a tree there.
So I mean, I like Christmas trees. I don't like devil trees.
I don't really like that. Yeah. But so I'm going to give the quick summary and then read some of the things from Weird New Jersey, because people write in about their experiences. Now, just so people know, I'm like 1,000 years old. When I was growing up, people talked about this tree. People went there. People scared themselves by driving there with their friends. I never did. I didn't. To this day, I wouldn't be able to figure out where this is. I would literally have to go on Google and find out. And I'm somebody who's very excited about the paranormal. But the Devil's Tree in Basking Ridge actually had a lot of news outlets have written about this. So here's a little quick excerpt from Thrillist. And basically, this says it's at, I don't even want to say the address. Anybody can look it up, but I don't want to be responsible for people getting in their cars and going there. But out of context, the tree's silhouette, this is from Thrillist, alone is enough to inspire nightmares. A warped, half-dead oak looming in the middle of a lonely field with dozens of axe marks lining its trunk. I believe it's a very large tree. Then there's the gruesome history, a purported meeting place for the KKK. Terrible. Notorious suicide site also terrible. And rumored gateway to the depths of hell. I don't know if that's really true. The Devil's Tree is infamous among locals and has evolved into a chilling tourist attraction, kind of, but it's on private property. So, but the legend has it that anyone who harms the tree will suffer swift and violent retribution. So naturally, it's come to be a tradition for ballsy teens, according to the article, across the Garden State to pee on its trunk. Terrible, also terrible. I'm against that. It's just disrespectful. But they're saying do so at your own risk. You might just lose your life or your manhood to the tree's sinister curse. I don't know. I'm not sure if any of that is actually true, but I can read some things that are true.
So just for clarification, it's not teens that pee on the trunk. It's just male teens that pee on the trunk because
it just wouldn't be easy.
And also I would risk my manhood because I would be risking nothing.
I don't even know what to do with that.
It's a strange way of putting things.
Yes. All right.
I will tell you, I know maybe 200 people that have gone to it.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
And they're all around to tell the tale?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Basically, this is from the NJ Patch online newspaper, but basically same thing. People describe it as a portal to hell. I guess the tree's appearance, for those who have seen it, I'll post a photo, but basically it looks scary or intimidating.
It's very Halloween-y.
It's huge.
Yeah. And remember, Weird New Jersey's 25 years, I think, this year. And it's the way its content is produced is by the same folkloric stories being reinterpreted by new generations of people. So you have literally thousands and thousands and thousands of Jersey teens each year discover Weird New Jersey and then do the Weird New Jersey kind of tour, Clinton Road, the Devil's Tree, the Devil's Tower, and so I would say I'm surprised to find out it's on private property because it is such a well-known public thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there are signs telling you not to trespass, but basically...
And don't pee on the tree.
No one should even need to tell you not to do that. I'm sorry.
Don't trespass and don't tree piss.
It's just terrible. I don't understand why people do things like that. You could find nothing else to do on your Saturday. I mean, come on.
I get going to visit the tree. I don't get why you're like, you know what I'm going to do?
I'm so tough.
You know what? Exactly. You know what I'm going to do, Kenny? I'm gonna whip it out. I'm gonna pee on a trunk.
I don't know if we should edit that out.
It might be the biggest thing we've ever done. Well, the funny thing is that I did that with a Southern accent instead of a Jersey accent.
Well, some parts of Jersey are.
You know what you should do. You know what we're gonna do.
I don't think a lot of gangsters go to that tree to do that. That's just my assumption. I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know.
Maybe those Jersey. Are the people that disappear.
Yeah, good Lord. So basically, for people who are remotely curious, basically in the 20s, I mean, and this is genuinely horrible, but the lore or the reports are that a group of KKK members, the Klan, would hold cross burnings and hangings off the limbs of the tree. That is, I don't know if that's been substantiated or not. Still horrible. But there's a local historian, Brooks Betts, who confirmed that there was, in fact, an active KKK Klan located just down the road on the Bridgewater side near Route 202 and 206. Mm-hmm. They haven't been, I guess those activities haven't been proven. I really hope it's not true. But certainly those things have happened historically and they're horrible. I mean, that's certainly worse than anything I'm going to tell you about the tree. But another rumor about the tree, specifically the Devil's Tree, it involved a farmer who lived in a white farmhouse that stood adjacent to the tree, who murdered his entire family at the home and then hanged himself on the tree. Again, I don't know if that's true. And this local historian said that there's not a record of that either. I think a lot of times people cook up a lot of stories to make things scarier. And that's what this historian said. He said that people told these tales to scare others. And then kids invented, in the 1960s, they invented a story about a rogue white pickup truck that would come over the hill and kill you if you bothered the tree.
I remember hearing a story too where there was something that, and this is something that happens a lot too with these kind of folkloric stories, where there had been some kind of money buried near the tree, and as a way of making sure that no one bothered it, kind of like what pirates did, where you would have this story and just be like, don't go near that tree because we don't want you to
go near the tree,
find our money, So as far as the clan stuff though, I think that's, as far as the clan stuff in that area, that's historically substantiated. It being specific to that tree, I don't know that they could ever really do that, but
that's what the gist was.
Unfortunately, a lot of the KKK and there were Nazis in New Jersey in World War II.
Yeah. The stories kind of emerged that supposedly anyone who tries to cut down the oak tree would come to an untimely end. People thought there was a portal to hell. Apparently, snow doesn't accumulate underneath the tree. There's a rock that's always warm. I could think of possible other reasons. Like, I don't know if there's any, I'm not a geologist, but I'm wondering if there could be some other reason why that would be. I don't honestly know. The weird New Jersey thing is interesting because I kind of like the stories. I like when people have their little anecdotes and they're talking about, how they're getting themselves all amped up. And certainly they talk about the lore, the folklore that we've talked about. It's interesting because if people have brought, just as an aside, axes and chainsaws to try and cut the tree down, I would think that the tree would have died before now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because how much could even a large tree take? So one reader described the tree to Weird New Jersey, basically saying there's a big field and right near the road is the tree. It's the only thing in the field. Supposedly it's a portal to hell and a sentinel guards it. He drives an old black Ford or pickup truck and will chase you down the road until a certain point. You'll see headlights 1 second and then the next, nothing. The car is just gone. I actually remember in high school overhearing people saying that they went to the Devil's Tree and were chased by the pickup truck. And who knows?
I would totally do that with my pickup truck. I would wait there listen, I would find that so entertaining.
With a cup of coffee, just hanging out.
Hell out of kids, what I love about the Weird New Jersey stories is that as technology changes, the stories incorporate that into it. And you start to see stories filtered through, like cell phones, and you know what I mean? You start to see people use. I find that really fascinating.
Oh, yeah. Another anecdote was that I'm assuming these are younger people because I don't see middle-aged people going and doing this, although I suppose they could. But
we did it. We went into the cemetery in a Tesla.
But we didn't go to the Devil's Tree.
Oh, but that we could go next week. Listen, if there's a good brunch spot, we will be at the Devil's Tree.
They could have a roadside coffee bar.
Yeah, we're listen, we just went for afternoon tea and stopped by the portal to hell.
Yeah, why not? We would do that, but
yeah, it's an afternoon.
It says the Devil's Tree will break you. Just be forewarned. But it says at the time of our arrival to the Devil's Tree, there was a 6-foot noose, terrible, hanging from the big branch, which extends out of one side. We noticed what looked like claw marks from a person or a very large animal. I don't think a person would have huge claw marks.
Yeah. That is so much scarier to me than an animal, like a polar bear. But if a person could actually, how
That's a whole other story right there. That actually has to be the devil.
That is terrifying.
Yes.
That is absolutely terrifying.
So they said to get a better view, they climbed the tree to see if any unique marks were farther up the tree. And they were sitting on a branch trying to remove the noose. I guess is like a public service, and I'm inserting that. That's my interpretation. But as we sat on the branch, we began to hear noises coming from inside the tree. When these noises grew even louder, a big bang sounded and a burst of energy came from the tree. He said, sending myself and my friend flying into the air. When I crashed to the ground, I landed on my ankle, breaking it in 2 places. This is from Steve K. There's so many things I'm thinking as I'm reading this. I mean, could it be haunted? It could. Could there be just animals living inside an old tree? Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to poo-poo it.
Could your weight have broken a branch or caused the noise?
I don't know. And I kind of don't want to find out for myself. But everybody talks about the heat rock next to the tree. People say it's a gateway to hell. There's no snow, as I mentioned, under the tree. I think this story is hilarious for some reason. So this one they've called the Mark of the Devil. My friends and I'm going to read it verbatim, went up to the devil's tree one night and got out of the car and touched it. Afterward, we went to Applebee's to get something to eat, and everyone that was sitting at the table suddenly had all of our hands turned black. We don't know why, but it took us 2.5 hours to get the blackness off of our hands. I guess from touching the tree. But the Applebee's thing, for some reason, I'm like, I'm going to go to the devil's tree and see if I can contact Satan. And then I'm going to Applebee's.
This Friday, it's finally time. We're going to try and open the portal to hell.
But then...
And then...
Mozzarella sticks.
It's like, and
then they have at Applebee's.
Blooming onions for everybody. Well, that's not Applebee's.
I don't know.
So,
So people said they put their ears next to the bark of the tree and heard sounds of screaming and children playing in the tree. That actually is the creepiest thing I've read thus far. In terms of supernatural.
Although it doesn't sound devilish. It sounds delightful, doesn't it?
No.
It's like playful.
Kids playing and screaming inside a tree is decidedly awful.
Screaming is terrible, but playing doesn't seem
also
like it's really
creepy.
Doesn't seem devilish. Well, it's creepy, but it's not devilish.
I have
right?
to find this video of Loretta. This is an aside. May she rest in peace, as they say. I hate that saying. But anyway, Loretta passed last year, as some people know, but when she was young and spry, my mother, who is well known for buying people toys that the parents hate, bought Loretta the cutest looking koala. Sorry, I'm laughing. It made, when you bit it or grabbed it, it started giggling. Like it sounded like kids giggling. It was the worst thing I've ever heard. And she wouldn't let you take it from her. She'd try with those little chihuahua teeth to bite you if you tried to take the chihuahua. You had to come in with another toy and grab it. And we threw that sucker out. There's nothing creepier than the sound of children giggling.
When there are no children present.
I was like, oh, this has to go.
If there are kids there, it's fine.
As long as they're embodied.
As long as they're
children.
As long as they're present. I will say, I once got my nephews a drum set. I love my sister, but I love my nephews more. And I got them a drum set. And it took a while for her to get over that.
My God.
Because they were like, bah, 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 bah.
If only the drums giggled.
They were 4 years old, and it really...
sure, they were really good.
Yeah, they were really talented.
Yeah. Sounds like they would be.
I know.
I don't know.
Those brave souls.
Yeah.
That go out with full bladders to,
so just
really drive home the point to the devil. Listen,
I feel like people need more to do. I
don't know. I like this though. I like that kids are going out and doing kind of urban legend explorations versus, sitting at home doing nothing.
Read a book. I don't know. Just don't pee on stuff.
Yeah, well, listen, go look at the tree, but just keep it in your pants. Just, there's no need for that.
No, it's just totally inappropriate. There we go.
Don't do that.
I'm moralizing now.
And it's gross.
It is just gross. It is. Don't do it.
It's like this.
Don't do it.
It's not a good look for you.
Anything else that we should cover that we have not yet?
So I I do have the footage of when we were in the museum last
Ooh.
week. I'll make sure to send that. We did get some SLS hits.
Yes.
Which were I think they were interesting. It was a quiet night though. I think in general it was kind of a quiet night. But yeah, like if you ask for something, usually you'll get it, and if you ask to not get it, you'll usually get it. You know, they'll usually stay off, because I don't know that there's anything in my space that is inherently negative. There are things that definitely have darker kind of things, but I don't know that they're inherently, like most things, they're not inherently, they're not like malicious or vindictive, or there's one or two things that have a mind of their own. But
all I'm going to say is, if we ever set up the Patreon, you know, and obviously we would give people a peek into stuff that we, you know, can't fit into the podcast, or that we want to keep a little bit separate. But, you know, I don't know if blue is, I know what you're saying, not inherently evil. It's an object somebody created to entrap a demon, reportedly. But we did have that period, I think it was like on multiple occasions, where we had weird electronic stuff. You and I both had to replace fairly new computers.
Yeah, but I also think that's partly like that's partly your end. Like when other people come into the space, it changes the energy a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because like, I think you, and I'm talking about you specifically, just like I specifically, I have a certain command in my place. Do you know what I mean? Like I walk into but that's because it's my domain, and I'm very familiar with it. I live there. I have my dogs there. I'm in and out of there all the time. I have boundaries that I've unconsciously set. Look at that. Look, speaking of which, here comes the devil's cat. But also when you come in, it changes the dynamics of it. And you know, you have a very high vibration too. So I'm a big believer in, just because something makes you uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's negative, or just because you have a negative or you feel a negative reaction towards it doesn't mean that it is negative. That being said, there are definitely things in my museum that were created specifically for negative.
And I think that's what I mean.
Purposes.
You know, maybe we could take the evil word and put it aside, because that's.
But remember, blue was not created for evil purposes. Blue was created to save someone.
Okay, good point.
You know what I'm saying? So blue was created to heal someone spiritually. You know.
Sorry.
No.
It's not the it's the devil's deer.
It's yeah, it is. It's the devil squirrel.
Hey.
But people do have visceral reactions to blue. They definitely do.
Yeah.
Even before they know the story, they have a visceral reaction to her. And I did keep her in the basement for 12 years.
Good Lord.
Well, you know, that's what you get when you're a demon. That's what you get. You get put in the basement. Zelda's like, I'm a bad girl.
That's me.
Yep.
She's like, but there are so many deer.
She's like, I'm Zelda, bitch, like that. Oh no, now we're gonna get an adult only rating. That was my
I said
thing.
Bullshit twice, so now that's time 3. Oh,
damn it.
Sabrina, please. So the thing I wanted to say about Blue is that we got 3 recordings, at least. One clearly sounded like, as we were talking about her, I'm going to call the painting, I'm going to refer to the painting as blue, like an actual being. And, at least once it did sound like she was saying blue when we were talking about her and kind of, things manifesting in a space. And then there was that one recording I told you, and I know I mentioned it before, like I couldn't even listen to the full recording more than once. You should
upload it. Do you have it?
I can find it somewhere. Yeah. And I mean, to me, that is super creepy. I wonder if our listeners would be, I could embed it in this video even.
Let's ask them.
Okay.
If you would like us to upload
a creepy sounding clip,
the EVP that we got during our recording, let us know. And if we get a certain number, we'll do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just horrendous. It's so funny because my neighbor James, shout out to James, was like, "Oh, it just sounds like it's trying to communicate something." I'm like,
but see what I'm saying? Like
it sounds
all perception.
Awful.
You're like, sounds, it's trying to communicate death,
terribleness.
And I'm like this. I'm like, It's in my bedroom. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
it's in my living room.
Yeah.
I just keep it in my living room.
that's just not good for me. It's nothing I like about that.
We are very different though in those things, but like,
Yes.
it's just a different approach.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a different approach.
And again, like I know we both have had our own intuitive experiences, on and off for our whole lives, and certainly
Right.
have tried to develop that. But I've also had some really not pleasant ones, especially when I was younger. So like seeing something that I feel like is not, I'm going to say is discordant with my energy feels not good, So
and
much for that.
I have a much more of a I close the door on that. You know what I mean? Like I have much more of a that's my approach.
It's just who they are. It's
like,
just who they are.
It's like this. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? It is what it is.
Well, here's the thing. Like, just because something is active doesn't mean it's negative to me. But remember, guys, if you want to hear the EVP clip, let us know.
Yeah.
All right. Drop us a note. Make sure that you follow us. Make sure you share us. Make sure you review us. 5 stars. And believe it or not, everyone always says it, but it really does help. Having comments, having any kind of interaction is definitely going to help us spread the word about the podcast. So
absolutely,
we would love that.
Yes. So great to see you.
Good to see you.
Well, until next time, stay curious.
Keep exploring.
Bye for now.
I know that the paranormal is real. Listen.
You've just listened to the Curious Explorers podcast with the Kathy Kelly and Tracy Stein. If you enjoyed the episode, remember to like, share, follow, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. And of course, until next time, stay curious.
The paranormal is real. It is real. The paranormal is real. Is it? The paranormal is real. It is real. The paranormal is real. Is it? I know that the paranormal is real. Listen.
You've just listened to the Curious Explorers podcast with the Kathy Kelly and Tracy Stein. If you enjoyed the episode, remember to like, share, follow, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. And of course, until next time, stay curious.
The paranormal is real. It is real. The paranormal is real. Is it? real. It is real.